For the stars I shoot pimpin', no boy, you best check the score.
So, Adult Swim just finished airing the last few episodes of their newest adult animated series. Oh my god, yes, a series of extremely relatable circumstances. And it took me a month to write a video about it because my mama never taught me time management. The show is about Sunny Green, an influencer, and her two best friends, Lottie and Tulip, and we follow their relentlessly ridiculous misadventures while they try to figure this life shit out. It's fast paced, there's a lot going on in every episode, but I honestly think it's a lot of fun. And a lot of that comes from how they chose to write these three main characters. They remind me of the three main characters in Aqua Teen, if that show was actually trying to take like characterization and development seriously. If that comparison sounds familiar, it's probably because me and Man of 1,000 Thoughts watched the show together because I was making this video only for him to make a video too, further contributing to the chronic pain I've developed from carrying this cartoon community shit on my fucking back.
The chronic.
Sunny, Tulip, and Lottie all individually make choices that they know the others wouldn't be proud of. There isn't one character that's without fault or conflict or that's 100% perfect. That's what really makes the squad feel real.
This thing is the epitome of toxic. Super unlovable. Ugh. Did you see the legs on those things?
So you're saying Strawberry left me because my legs are funny?
No, because my legs are weird. Hey, my legs aren't weird.
Yeah, get her, Ma.
And even beyond the main three, the world is so massive. All these different weird types of characters and designs. One nigga is deadass just a broom in a tracksuit. But even those kind of characters can have interesting quirks or backstories that really make them feel fleshed out.
Because you're overprotective, which is a form of control. And you know how I feel about control. My mama was a controller. Do you really think you need that, sweetie?
Ah, I get it. Structurally, like the way the narratives are put together, it reminds me of a different spin of what regular show used to do. Usually there'd be some really super normal situation going on. A song stuck in your head, a nigga wanting a trucker hat, getting beat at arm wrestling, whatever it is, it's small. But over the course of the episode, it escalates more and more, and then you look up, something supernatural is going on. It's in a space that you wouldn't even imagine 5 minutes ago. Oh my god, yes, it's pretty similar, except it throws you right into that out there scenario. And while watching the cartoon, you slowly start to realize what the story is actually trying to say. This first one, for example, it kind of gives you whiplash. It's like a demon robot baby being born and it fucks up the town. On surface, it makes no sense. But you watch Sunny throughout this episode, how she reacts to her baby not living up to her expectations as a mom, how she treats the baby the same way she was treated as a kid. Sunny's baby coming out talking about world domination and Sunny just kicking the shit out the window is a funny visual, but it actually means something a little deeper at the same time.
It will be grateful, the same way I'm grateful for the times my mother punted me out the window when I was a kid. It taught me the invaluable lesson, trust no one.
All of the subtext is there. It's all addressed and explored, and it sneaks up on you in a really unique way. Generational trauma, aging, closure, dating expectations, this is real shit that these characters are going through, but it's showcased all in these super out of the box scenarios. By the time you realize what the episode is saying, it pretty much already said it.
1 minute you're changing diapers, the next minute you watching them grow. As a parent, it's hard to witness them make mistakes, but hey, you gotta love them through it.
Any child would be lucky to have you as a parent.
Adam? Daddy? Boy, what the hell you doing out here with a microphone in your hand, reporting the news? We a news-watching family.
The show looks really cool too, no doubt. It's set in this futuristic South Central, a really specific kind of world that we've never really seen before in animation, and the backgrounds take advantage of that for sure. Everything looks so thought out and lived in. The character animation is great too. Everyone is expressive. It's one of those where the body language and character acting really takes priority. But honestly, it's just easy on the eyes all around. I really love how the colors look during the night scenes. The designs are all over the place. You never know what you're gonna get. Could be a robot, an alien, or just a nigga that look like he from Jersey. Now, I'm gonna play a couple clips of the show being funny because I skipped the day of elementary school where they taught us how to write a proper segue.
Give me 1 sec. I'll be right back.
Hey, no problem. I'll just watch some good old Steel TV till you get back.
Is Chivalry dead, or?
I didn't even know he was sick. Oh, so young. It's okay. Bermuda Triangle just showed up to my house and suggested I give away all my money and assets now.
The Bermuda Triangle is a location.
That's what I said. Anyways, I'll do my best to stall them for about 45 minutes.
For 45 minutes.
If you want to see the show at its best, I recommend episodes 2, 6, and 7. Especially the finale. They did a really great job on that. I was in this bitch sad as hell. But I don't know, the show is definitely out there, it's different, it's definitely not for everybody, and that's okay. But if any of this piques any of your interests, I really think you should give it a shot. It looks cool, it's funny, and surprisingly thoughtful. I had a really great time with this one.
Do you have a big family?
Just the one chained up in my basement.
Okay, homeowner.
So before I go into what I'm about to say, I wanted to make sure that you all knew that I genuinely enjoyed this show for the content and not because of what I'm about to say. Some niggas might not believe me, but whatever, fuck y'all. Oh My God Yes is the very first adult animated series solely created by a black woman, and the first adult animated series to have a black woman as the main character since Hey Moni. Take a wild guess how long ago that came out. While we definitely have to get better in this regard, that doesn't mean we shouldn't celebrate how cool this is. Like this show or not, this is a net positive for adult animation. All you ever hear people complain about is how there's not any variety in the cartoons that we see. Everything's trying to be something else. What better way to encourage different kinds of stories than to open up the opportunities to different kinds of people with different identities and backgrounds, to storytellers that we've never heard from before. As wild as it is that this is happening now, considering what year it is and how long adult animation has been relentlessly popular, I cannot tell you how cool it is to me that this thing not only exists, but that it's so bold and different. It's not a Rick and Morty clone or like Black Lady Family Guy. It has elements of other shows like I was talking about before, but it really is its own thing unmistakably. And I can totally get how it might not be inviting to everyone, but I don't know, I think that's what makes it cool. This show is just unapologetically itself, and a lot of that has to do with the show's creator, Adele Supreme Williams, whose art I've been following for almost 10 years now. Here's my proof, some super ancient fan art. I remember seeing the concept in its early stages and wondering whatever happened to it, so it's cool to actually be here talking about it. But then I thought, it'd be even cooler to ask her about it. So, I called her. Remember when I used to say that? Anyway, please donate to my pilot.
I tried to stop him, but then I thought, why?
I've been following your Instagram account since I was probably 18. Nah, not 12. So I remember when the concept was kind of like comics and like there was maybe like a did you do like a show once, like an art show, I think, or
I
something like
did. Based
Okay.
that revolved around that was in the comic style. And the name of one of the shows I did that was in that style was called Oh My God Yes, a series of extremely relatable circumstances, I believe.
Yeah.
I think the first one I did revolved around like the dark underbelly and potential side effects of social media addiction. It was a bit prophetic because this was like when Snapchat first came out.
Yeah.
I had all these comments about like, this is what's going to happen in like the next 10 years. And I also had a series of extremely disturbing circumstances. And each of the pieces were commentary on the still debatable on whether or not it's fictional or not, the Willie Lynch papers and like the residual subconscious and somewhat still lasting effects of slavery and what's that, how that's impacted the African American community. But I made it funny. At least I tried.
Right.
But yeah, to your point, yes, I did have shows that were in the style of this work.
Okay, yeah. So how what was that pipeline like? How did it go from the shows to ending up like as like a series and a pilot and everything?
So I would post some of these comics on my Instagram, and the supporters would be in the comment section like, this needs to be animate this. Mm-hmm. I didn't know a thing about animation. I didn't know how to animate it. I've just always been a fan of animation. So I went on, I believe it was freelancer.com or like fiverr.com or something, and I hired a very talented, very affordable animator to animate some of the strips. So I would storyboard, he would animate, and I would animate some of the fan favorites, or he would rather. And then the idea came to me to produce a YouTube series we did just a trailer. I had just produced a trailer. I believe during one of my exhibits, I premiered the trailer for it, and it was called Oh My God, Yes, a Series of Extremely Relatable Circumstances. And the idea was just to take it to YouTube. I reached out to a colleague of mine, Dominique Bro. She's currently the executive producer on the series, to show her the trailer. And I wasn't even trying to pitch myself. I always imagine myself ending up in the live action space as far as writing is concerned. I showed her the trailer just wanting some feedback. You know, she's been with The Simpsons for 35 plus years. Right. I was like, hey, is this good? And I'm a Black woman entering like a white male dominated space. Like, do I have what it takes? And she watched the trailer and she says, this should be on TV. This should be on TV. So she introduced me to so many people, opened a lot of doors for me. And yeah, I guess the rest is history. I did I tried my best to adapt it into a series. It's funny, the first show that I sold was not this one. I sold another show to Adult Swim. Completely different concept, completely different title. Wow. And we were in 2 years of development in that, and they passed on it. It was no longer timely, as you know, the industry goes.
Got it.
I guess you can say, like in an act of vengeance, I cracked my knuckles and typed up a pitch on this, and they bought it in the same year. But that was the pipeline. I hope I answered that question.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's the time frame on that? Like, how many years are we talking now? Because I think sometimes people lose sight of like how long this kind of stuff really takes.
Oh my God. I sold this in 2020, so for 4 years. It was a long process. You know, Adult Swim is its own beast. You know, they do things. They play by the rules, but they don't in terms of timeline and how quickly something is expedited and how long or quick they take on something. It's very of the moment. And so many things. Yeah, I mean, the show has evolved so much. I know we re-released the pilot, and they did an early release in 2023. And so much about the show has changed since then. The pilot was very like Sunny focused. It was very focused on like purple hair chick, and Tulip and Lottie were very like kind of secondary, even arguably tertiary characters, because you just kind of played in the background. And Max and Adult Swim decided they wanted it to be more of an ensemble series that centered the three women equally and focused on their friendship and how they navigated the world, not just Sunny.
I was kind of curious, like, was the plan always to do 11 minutes, or was it like, did you guys want to do 22?
Oh yeah, we wanted 22.
Okay.
Adult Swim ordered a quarter hour. You know, they go by 2 formats. So we were gunning for the half hour. Yeah.
Okay.
They're like, we're just gonna do a quarter. It's like, okay, that's fine. And that posed its own series of challenges that, you know, is alchemy, right? It's like you can view it as a restriction, or you can view it as like a fun challenge, you know?
Right.
And something that I'm very proud of myself and my team for being able to do was compact as much as we could into those 11 minutes.
Yeah, they're really dense.
Yeah, they're very dense. Some people find themselves a bit overwhelmed by it. They feel like it moves so quick. Fun fact about the pacing, we actually found out post-production, once the episodes were completed, that some of the episodes had to have 2 minutes chopped off in them. And the way production handled that was like fast forwarding the episodes. They're like, we don't want to remove scenes, but they like turn up the pace. I'm like, and some people are like, you can't tell. I'm like, some people are gonna be able to tell.
See, I couldn't tell that there was like that it was sped up, but I did notice. I was like, oh, this is one of those that like there's a lot, like it's a lot happening. But now, you know what? That makes a whole lot of sense, because I mean, I have questions later about like the characters and everything, but like I can really tell like there was a lot of thought put into fleshing them out. So I would imagine like the point of you guys probably wanting to do 22 is like probably to have more time with them, I guess.
Absolutely. More time to build out the world, more time to build out the characters, more opportunity to allow them to make choices and really like spread their wings and show who they are, and more time to flesh out the world itself. But, you know, we had to just dive into it. We had to just show up into the world and assume that, one, trust that the audience would kind of get the mechanics and how things work here, and just go from there. You know, we didn't have the luxury of, and the schedule was really tight as well. I mean, the schedule was nuts. You know, Dominique, she's been on The Simpsons, and she talks about how long it takes them to do one episode. There's so much. I hate to use the word opportunity again, but yeah, when you that time is like gold. But when you're told, hey, we don't have time to bring that actor in to redo that line, or we don't have time to fix like the out of sync lip flap on this, this scene right here, and like, and the person who was working on it, like, they're off to Beijing, like, and we can't. So many restrictions, but yeah.
Because the thing I think is really interesting about the show, please let me know if like I'm off base, but it reminds me of Regular Show in a few ways, because that show kind of starts out with really mundane situations and then they escalate gradually. The way this show goes, it's kind of like you have this very evergreen issue that like a lot of people go through. It's this really like nugget of an issue. It could be anything from like getting older or like pregnancy and stuff like that. It's very evergreen nugget of an issue. But then there's like a silly way of explaining what the problem is, and then the characters make like a lot of really silly choices. But at the end, it's always still like they always still find a way to come back to the root of the issue. Like, right before we started this, I was rewatching the one about closure, and like that one it starts off and like it just kind of tells you like exactly what Tulip is going through, and then as the episode goes on, before you know it, they're like on the highway, like in a car chase, and then suddenly we're right back here with the moral and the theme. So that was that just like always the plan to do the stories that way? Is that how you guys approach them?
Yeah, that's how I approach them. What I try not to do in the rooms when I'm talking to the writers and we're like breaking story is I make fun is the priority, fun and funny.
Right.
I'll pitch a very mundane, again, to your point, evergreen issue idea that most people, have to navigate through in the world of dating or just everyday life. And we build from there. We find the fun and the silly and the absurdity. What I then do in the editing phase is place what the writers have done and what I have done into that, because that framework, so to speak, or that try to mirror with that blueprint to make sure we have that Aesop's fables, sort of like the moral of the story at the end, like kind of making sure everything comes full closure and making sure that the idea and the commentary on like the psychological and like dimensional effects of what we're talking about are present. Because I'm all for the stupid. I love stupid shit. And again, I try not to be too didactic in the messages that I like to put out into the world, but wanting to make sure that they're there and that in some capacity they resonate is how I approached each episode. And I love that you mentioned the closure episode. It's one of my favorite episodes. Being in the car, like everything is on purpose. Even the things that may not make you laugh, the things that are stupid, or the things that have you crying, tears of laughter, everything is for a reason. Everything is very on the nose, because as much as I wanted my writers to focus on the funny and the fun, my North Star was purpose. Like my North Star was message. My North Star was like the undercurrent, like the in between the lines of whatever's being said, and making sure everything, like no moment was wasted. And of course you do have some like really silly moments that aren't wasted. Like when, the baker is talking about how he had to like kill his dog because he read his recipe journal. Like that has nothing to do with closure. That's just being a psychopath, but
right.
Her
it
being,
helps paint the picture of the character though,
Yeah, exactly. And but them being in this high-speed chase and Tulip being in the passenger seat, undergoing a full-blown head-to-toe metamorphosis while they're being chased by the cops with a psychotic baker in the backseat, but her being so locked in on this man not receiving her text is emblematic of what the experience of needing to get that text back and needing that closure, what that embodies. Like the encapsulation of the lunacy and like just how you can be so not present and unaware of everything happening because you just need this one motherfucker to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah.
That is great. I know I just watched it, but hearing you explain it even more like that is so, because and I feel like that's again just to kind of the relevancy of the show, like how relatable the situations are, I just feel like a lot of people can resonate with that exact emotion of like it's the worst thing in the world, that like feeling in your stomach, like you know what I mean, like it's the worst thing in the world.
The moment in that episode, and there's so much that happens in each that so many people are going to miss, but the explanation of what's taking place, the exposition is given on what's taking place between Lottie and the baker in the beginning. When Lottie watches the commercial and that the fast talking like side effects guy at the end of the commercial, when he's like, the side effects include, hunger, death, and the desire for more closure.
Right.
And Lottie's like, so the closure doesn't give you closure, just makes you want it more. And the baker's like, yeah, and the more you want it, the more you change. Like the more you desire this thing that's unattainable, the more of a monster you're going to turn into.
Right.
And so that's what's happening to Tulip. Like she's not letting go, and Lottie's telling her like, there's no such thing as closure. You need to just let this go. That's what's going to free you. And she never does.
I did want to ask about the three main characters. I know a lot of the time cartoon creators would take inspiration from like themselves or like homies and stuff like that. What was the inspiration for the three?
Well, they are each a piece of me. Mm-hmm. Sunny is the part of me that is at times too smart for her own good and will even intellectualize her bullshit, will intellectualize her terrible choices, will intellectualize the mistakes she's made and the chaos that ensued as a result of said mistake. Lottie is the part of me that always wishes, or like the imagined part of me that I would like to kind of, manifest a bit more, but the part of me that is really good at trusting her gut. Like the part that says, don't walk in that room, or don't answer that call, or don't pick that up. But Tulip is the part of me that's like, well, let's try it.
Right.
Let's just see what'll happen. But Lottie's just very good at trusting her instincts, trusting her gut, trusting herself. Very no nonsense. And the part of me that was like taught how to fight by all my cousins in 6-0 growing up in South Central. You know what I'm saying? Like the part of me that'll cuss you out if I have to.
For sure.
And Tulip is that part of me that just finds meaning in everything, even when there is none. The part of me that's very like compassionate and open and constantly runs red lights. Like metaphorically speaking, like her friends are like, it's a trap. She's like, no. Well, let's just see. Like maybe is it a trap or is it like a cozy room to stay warm? Like,
Yeah. I love Tulip. She's my favorite one. Yeah, you guys have a really smart but versatile cast. I noticed that a lot of people will pick up and do like a character in the background and stuff like that. So what was the casting process like? And also, just kind of, I know Cree Summer did the voice direction. What was that like? What was the casting like, and working with Cree with voice direction and everything?
The casting process for the three leads was long and tedious. So many people auditioned, which I was grateful for. So many people. Khalees auditioned.
Wow.
The Brat auditioned.
Get out of here.
Swear to God.
Damn.
It's a lot, and people who I was also, I've never heard of. I have, so Zosha Rockmore I know personally. She's the voice of Lottie.
Yeah.
And I knew I wanted her audition because Zosha just has a naturally distinct, amazing voice. I've always loved the raspiness of her voice. And she's a phenomenal actress as well. So I didn't know if she was going to get, but I was like, I want you to do Lottie. I want you to voice Lottie. And so she auditioned and I gunned for her hard. Her take was great. She sounded exactly like I imagined her sounding. But we had an actress who Adult Swim was really gunning for. Like, we need like a name that people, we need this person to be attached. We feel like it would just add some variety to the cast. It's something unexpected. And you only get so many, get out of jail free cards when you're working with networks. There's something you have to kind of know what you want to shake the table about and what you kind of just, So we allowed this actress to record for the pilot. And I wasn't able to be there for the recording. I had some other obligations I had to attend to, but then I listened to her recording. And I had to shake the table. I was like, guys, please, like, can we gotta bring Zosha in. Like, this is good. This is not it. Like her audition was far better far more superior to her actual performance on the pilot. So we brought in Lottie, and it's fucking chef's fucking kiss, man. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, yeah, like who knew? We knew for Tulip we wanted someone sweet. Tons of auditions for that as well. Dominique Perry was a perfect fit. I mean, I heard her audition. I was like, oh, that's it. I don't need to hear anything else. I mean, I listened to all her sides. I think it was just yeah. And I had to audition. People assume
I've heard that. I've heard cartoon creators say that before. Yeah.
I had to audition. People seem like, oh, you guys. Yes, I had to audition, and I was up against a very high-profile A-list celebrity. And I won. I was like, hey. As far as everyone else, like Bill Lobley, and we had him on the pilot. I had to bring him back. He's my secret weapon. Bill Lobley does it all. You wouldn't believe the range this man has. He's in like in every episode. I think with the exception of episode 5, 23andMe with all the Jamals.
Right.
Gary Anthony Williams, he was in the pilot as well. Another secret weapon. And to your point, I wanted to keep it niche, keep it small. And as far as the guest stars that came in, that was the casting directors, Jackie Solito's company. They had the most amazing suggestions for people to bring in to voice some of the guest stars, like Sonny's mother, Deborah Wilson. Would have never thought of her, as a voice. Chris Parnell, didn't think of him to be the cult leader, but sure, but it was their genius, and they're just like reading the scripts, hearing what I'm, listening to what I was kind of going for. I mean, I had ideas, but they had better ones, so they would bring me a list of people that they thought would be good, and I would just kind of any, mini, mighty mode, I guess. No, there was some thought put into it. Yeah, and the recording sessions were always so fun, especially with Cree in the room. Especially with Cree, she really did bring out the absolute best in all of our actors, including myself. And she moves quick. She knows what she's looking for. She knows how to keep the actors encouraged. I mean, you had some pros, like the Chris Parnell didn't need many notes,
Right.
Powers. Oh my God, the Keith Powers session was that was nuts. He came in there. I was because the role is so silly, like him being like this robot leader who believes like this prophecy. And I thought he was so excited to be there. And he brought so much to that episode and brought so much energy, and it was like,
yeah.
Greetings. I was like, he was putting this all into it. He had this little African print suit on.
Yeah. That's great.
And Deborah Wilson, when oh my gosh, she was in the finale. She's Sonny's mother. She does that. Oh my God, she kept crying. We couldn't even get her to finish. We had to keep taking breaks because she would read the lines and then cry. I guess it was like really resonating with her, like on a personal level. And me and Cree kept crying, and we would have to play back her different takes. And every time we played back a take, we would cry. It was just like a very juicy-eyed session.
Okay, so you brought it up, so I want to ask you about that now, because that's my favorite episode, the finale. It blew me away. I was totally blown away. I just couldn't, like, it as it went on, I was like, okay, this is gonna be one of those bottle episodes that I always like bottle episodes anyway, so I was fine. But the direction you guys decided to go, just really pulling the raw emotions out of these characters in ways that I didn't even expect, honestly, because I think commonplace today, with a lot of animation, adult animation and not, I think commonplace is you have like this like nugget of a sincere idea, and you like dangle it over the audience's face, and you kind of play with it a little bit, but I think a lot of the time gags are prioritized more often, so you don't want the audience to feel too sad. So like, let's have someone say something like a quick aside here that's like funny, and so it like breaks this up. But I was blown away by just how you guys really delve into those emotions. Just that long stretch where like Lottie just can't stop crying. It blew me away. It's so great. So I did want to ask about that, because I love that episode. It's my favorite one. And I forgot, I wrote it down because I knew I would forget. I wanted to say that I love the Steve Harvey teeth. That's that felt like it was like a gag for me and the homies. We imitate Steve all the time, so it's the best impression to do. It's great.
Just mustache and teeth.
Yeah, just mustache. Yeah, I wanted to ask if that was something that we could expect in the future with these characters, is diving into them like that deeply into their emotions and like their core and everything.
Oh my god, 100%. I'm so glad it's your favorite episode. Yeah, I fucking love that episode. I can't wait for people to watch it.
Yeah.
And it does set the tone for season 2 in terms of how the sorts of unexpected characters we bring in, the way, the different, not necessarily like plot twists, but where the girls go, how we utilize the technology, the strange encounters they have, and the emotional depth to these characters. And what informs what makes them, what informs their idiosyncrasies, what informs their personalities. What is Lottie so triggered by during that whole game show set? What has her in that state? What, aside from Sunny's mother being who she is, what was that relationship? And Tulip and, her, when we end with her being like, I have bloodlust now. What does that mean for sweet, sweet Tulip? And yeah, I was tasked with this season. I was tasked with not developing the world, but introducing the fun, the unexpected, and the novelty of it. And with the time we had and with the budget, there were some places we couldn't necessarily go. And again, Adult Swim felt it was more imperative for me to let's just establish this world and how these girls jive as a threesome, how they as a unit navigate these circumstances and get through things. We can get into like the soil another time. And so I was glad that I was given the opportunity with the finale to wink at that a bit. And not even wink. I mean, to your point, we really go there.
Yeah, absolutely.
When there's no flinching, especially with that final act, And I'm so glad. I don't know. I just might get emotional talking about it. Like every time I watch that episode, I get like very teary eyed. Especially the scene where Lottie keeps crying.
Yeah. Because I'm always a sucker for like when, just in general, like when shows really take the time to like, they don't do this stuff too heavy with the characters at first, because like just know them, just figure out who they are, see them as they are every day. And so when you finally get to the end, when you guys kind of break down the personalities, I'm always like a super big fan of that. And because of it, it gets like a really big emotional reaction out of the audience, because they grow to love these characters and grow to know who they are. So when you see them, like seeing Lottie cry, like it like blew me away. Like I was like, wow, I can't believe they went this direction. This is great.
Oh, I'm getting chills. That means a lot, honestly. Yeah, and I hope also, and if people don't, that's fine. But I believe people will. With us learning about Sunny's mother no longer being with us, and how much she impacted her friends, and just listening to that monologue that her mother gives. I mean, Sunny talks about her mother in the first episode with the demon baby. And she talks about her mother, like, my mother used to punt me out the window when I was a kid.
Right.
It's stupid, it's funny, but like, oh, she's an abused child. And in that final episode, we hear her mother talk about like the examples or lack thereof that she gave her on like how to love, and like the pros of giving your heart to someone instead of all the cons. Because her mother taught her like the downside of falling in love with somebody. Yeah, we go there. I can't wait. I think, yeah, if people aren't sold yet, I think when they watch that, I think if nothing else, it'll make them more curious. Like, okay, where are we going after this? Especially with like the freaky shit with just mustache and teeth. You know what I'm saying? Like that shit gets weird.
Right.
and it gets weird in a way we haven't throughout the whole season.
Kind of going to the art direction side of things. I was curious because it's set in this like futuristic South Central. So I did want to ask about the designs, and is there like a thought process with stuff like Tulip's ex-boyfriend just kind of being like a broom guy, or is that just kind of like, somebody drew a broom guy, let's use him?
Okay, so let I'm so glad. Yes. So funny story with the broom guy. The broom guy was in the pilot as a background character. Before he was a broom, he was a monkey. Someone designed him as a monkey, and I was like, absolutely not. We're not gonna have fucking monkeys. Yeah. And they're like, okay, what do you want to change him to? I said, make him a broom. And they were like, what? And I was like, make like a broom, make him a push broom. And the designer, we were doing like a screen share, and he like drew a broom over his head. He's like this, and I was like, exactly.
There you go.
So we turned the monkey into a broom. And when writing this episode, I've always enjoyed with Tulip being who she is. You know, I didn't want her. Tulip, she's not going to just date a regular. She's not just going to date a man. You know, I think she's our entry point into what other anthropomorphic beings we have, you know, running around. Right. And I always
that explains the spider.
The spider and how she slept with Silken Tofu Boy. What does that mean? Right. She talks about someone named Swan Dive, and whether or not these people she's referencing are these things, because like the girlfriend that breaks up with her name is Strawberry, but she's like an actual cyborg with like a laser arm, you know. And so when I talked about her boyfriend being Push Broom, who I'm the voice of on the voice, I'm like, let's bring back Push Broom from the pilot. I don't know. It was just, I knew what purpose I wanted him to serve, but what he looked like didn't fully matter. I think so. It's moments like that, these sort of trivial characters, that we have fun exploring a bit more of the absurdity, you know, expansiveness of the world. But yeah, Push Broom used to be a monkey.
I think you made the right choice.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure it's not lost on you how historic it is that the history of adult animation goes back so far, and yet this is the first time a Black woman has ever been at the front to actually like put one of these together and do her take on it. And I love that to pieces. Yeah, I think that was pretty much all my questions. I guess the last thing I wanted to ask you was just, you know, we kind of already touched on it, but you know, just some thoughts on the future of the show and like what you hope people get from it and everything like that.
The future of the show, and I'm not just saying this because you said you hope to see more of what we did in the finale, but the future of the show is going to contain far more winks at our community, but in a way that other people can still enjoy. For example, the finale is called Or I'll Give You Something to Cry About. But it's the acronym for Or I'll Give You Something to Cry About. Because something that a lot of people in our community have been doing online is like, saw this acronym. Like, what am I saying with that? You know, and, you know, in Sunny's monologue at the end when she talks about how we were all told to just do push-ups and shake it off. We can expect more specificity, more emotion, more rawness, and more strangeness. Yeah, and I plan on bringing back a lot of the characters. Like, you can expect every character we've seen to come back in some capacity. I like the word, how you talk about, you use the word evergreen, you know, because sure, I could, you know, bring in mainstream media and what we're talking about today, but I much prefer to keep it evergreen. And I want to get even more nuanced and even deeper. I really love, like, I love, like, with the closure episode with the Beast Abroad and the baker named Warren Macy Tom. I love when several things are happening at once. You know, I don't know if you ever watched the show Midnight Gospel. Very different, right? I'm not saying that would be the tone or the approach, but I love how it's a bit of that, you know, rubbing your belly and patting your head at the same time sort of effect. And so I like for the episodes to be even more robust and nuanced in terms of like the messaging and more specific to our experience as well. And I don't even want to say our experience, honestly. Like, I do understand that all of our experiences are different. We're not a monolith. We're all raised differently. We're all grouped in different neighborhoods, you know. But I think it's some of those like deeply rooted spiritual and intrinsic things and inside jokes that connect us all, you know. It's not the same. Like every black kid's mom kicked him out the window. Like I also have black friends whose parents never spanked them. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
To be invisible will be my claim to fame. A girl with an open that way I won't have to feel in this mix of just a plain human being.
Yeah, this has been a blast. Thank you so much.
Thank you
for hanging out and talking to me about this. I really appreciate it.
Oh no, I'm so honored. I'm so glad.
First things first, I popper, freaks all the honeys, dummies, playboy bunnies, those wanting money. Those the ones I like, cause they don't get Nathan but penetration. Unless it smells like sanitation. Garbage I turn like doorknobs, heart throb never, black and ugly as ever. However, I stay Coochie down to the socks, rings and watch filled with rocks. And my jam knocking your Mitsubishi. Girls pee-pee when they see me, Navajos creep me in they teepee. As I lay down laws like Island Coppet. Stop it, if you think they're gonna make a profit. Don't see my ones, don't see my guns, get it? Now tell your friends Papa hit it, then split it in two. As I flow with the Junior Mafia, I don't know what the hell's stopping ya. I'm clocking ya, Versace shade watching ya. Once you grin, I'm in, game begins. First I talk about how I dress is this, and diamond necklaces, stretch Lexuses. The sex is just immaculate. From the back I get deeper and deeper, help you reach the climax that your man can't make. Call him, tell him you be home real late and sing the break,